Hi, so I decided to trash most of my long videos on YouTube because I want to make this as affordable and accessible as possible for people. But again, I have to use I statements because I have no education in medicine, no titles, no certifications or anything like that. I just learned everything that I learned through pain and suffering. With having long COVID for 5 years, I came across solutions to most modern day illnesses, and it has to do with biochemistry. I would like to start a lab, a clinical team of biochemists, but that's a whole other story, and I'm not going to explain everything to everyone here. I just would like to say that we are made from salts of the earth. You don't have to believe the Bible. I'm not a big fan, but I do believe it's a parable to the body, and it's misunderstood. And it says very clearly in there, let's see, where? Chapter 17, wisdom of Ben Sira, creation of human beings. The Lord created human beings from the earth and makes them return to the earth once again. And I can tell you that we are literally made from the earth, and therefore we need the minerals that the earth has. And I figured out that the horrific illnesses that I was experiencing were including anxiety and depression and mast cell activation and dysautonomia and POTS and histamine intolerance and allergies and the inability to get proper nutrients. My body was fucked. And it was a long time that I had to research this. And now that I know what the solutions are, I can go back, and there are a few alternative doctors online on YouTube who are talking about all this stuff. They have a very small following, and I'm hoping to get a big following. And if that means that I have to dance and twerk my ass off to get people to pay attention, then that is exactly what I will do. That makes me happy anyway. And I wasn't able to do any of that stuff. I was always a natural dancer, did not take it professionally, but I can do it again now. And I'm getting back into my flow and to my freestyle. I don't really like being on camera doing it. I don't know why I'm so shy about that. And I talked about this in another video. I lost a tooth cracked, because I'm very low in phosphorus. And that's a whole other story that I'll talk about. And my dentist had told me that I was just getting old. And then after I told her it was a phosphorus deficiency, she seemed to understand that. So yeah, I'll talk to you all about that. That's another mineral, right? There's some minerals that we need trace amounts of. There's some minerals that we do not need a lot of at all. And if we have too much, it's really bad, like lead. Oh, and so this video is going to be about the one thing that made me like 80% better right away, gave me the ability to exercise again, took away the most extreme parts of my debilities like depression, anxiety, autoimmune disorders, all my cardiology issues. My cardiologist was like, phew, what did you do? And then the people at Yale wanted me to explain this all to them as well. They were like, what did you do? And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna fucking tell you people. And I told them this. I said, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell the world through my little YouTube channel and make it as cost effective and straightforward as possible, because I feel like if I really give all of this information to the same organizations who are not thinking outside of the box, we're just going to have the same problems. I don't think that they're the evil ones. I think the evil ones are the ones we don't know about and the ones we don't see. And I think they know exactly what they're doing. I've said this in another video. Okay, so this video is about iodine. Do the research yourself if you want to. There's a reason why we put iodine in our salt in the early 1900s. But now our salt is a bunch of chemicals. And so if you want to get proper salt, and I can only say for myself because I can only speak for myself in these videos, and tell you what I did for myself, it was very important for me to have sodium, and I have another video on that, or I'm going to do another video on that. But that would be sea salt and Himalayan salt, and neither one of those provides proper iodine. And so iodine was removed from regular table salt about 10 years ago. And I always implore myself and everyone else to question why things are done. It is my opinion that the thyroid is the doorway to life, the gateway to life in the endocrine system. And if it's functioning properly and it's balanced, and the two most important minerals for the thyroid to be balanced are iodine and selenium, which I don't know many people who are supplementing with that, but again, I don't necessarily like supplements on a consistent basis. I like cell salts, I like homeopathy, and I will discuss that in another video as well. Homeopathy was our first medicine here in America. It was created in Germany, but it cured people. It gave people the ability to cure themselves, because it's our bodies. Like I have a hashtag that says God is our bodies. Our bodies are miraculous if we supply them with what they need. So I'm going to talk about iodine. How can you see whether or not you're deficient in iodine? First things first, I don't want to tell you everything I know and explain hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, and the long list of modern chronic illnesses and allergies and cancer and autoimmune disorders and mental health disorders that come from an imbalanced thyroid. When your body, the thyroid is really the operator, in my opinion, of the body, that in the stomach. And if it's not balanced, your body's not balanced, and your mind won't be balanced, and your emotions won't be balanced. So this is the first thing I did for myself. If you can afford to buy 2 bottles of J. Crow's Lugol's solution, I would highly recommend, I'm going to write it down below. I would highly recommend getting the 2% solution and the 5% solution. The 2% solution is stronger than the 5%. So even though it's a lower number, it's stronger. This is what it looks like. And again, you're taking a chance when you order it from Amazon, but if you can get it directly from J. Crow's, that's great. I like this one because there's no glycerin in it. People take it by mouth, but it stains your teeth, so I don't take it by mouth. If you can afford to get both of these solutions, that's great. If you can only afford to get the one of these bottles because you can't afford 2 of them, I would highly recommend you get the 5% solution, because that's the maintenance solution. So after a period of time, when you rebuild your stores of iodine in your system, you'll only need to maintain it on a daily basis along with the selenium. And many people get their selenium through Brazil nuts every day, but Brazil nuts don't really work for me, and I don't digest them well. I think everyone has a digestion issue to some degree, and I need HCl, hydrochloric acid, to add to my stomach, a very particular type, and I did another video on that. So how do you test yourself? If you can afford to buy both, I would use the 2% solution. I put it on my arm. It's very staining. It will stain your clothes. It will stain your sink. It doesn't stain my sink, but it's very staining. So you put 3 to 5 drops of it on your arm and then go like this. And it's iodine, right? But this is a food grade. So you let it go into your system, because remember, you are not only what you eat. Well, it's not really you are what you eat. It's you are what you can assimilate. You are what you can digest as nutrients. You really aren't what you eat. You could have the healthiest diet and not be getting healthy because you can't convert the food to the nutrients that your body needs, that your blood needs. But that's another story. So 3 to 5 drops, and you time it. So like if I put it on at 10 o'clock in the morning, it should last 5 hours. if I have sufficient amounts of iodine in my body. So that would mean 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it should disappear. If it disappears any quicker than that, that meant that I had deficiency in it. And I have to say, the first time I put it on, it disappeared in like 10 minutes. And I was like, whoa. And so I started to put 5 drops of the 2% solution on every day. And within 5 days, I felt like a completely different person. And my whole body started to correct itself. What I didn't realize was that the thyroid, and iodine in particular, being provided to the thyroid, operates like a trillion fucking cells in your body, and gets your body to work properly again. I couldn't believe it. I felt like a completely new person. No more anxiety, no more depression, no more heart issues, no more asthma, no more severe allergies, able to exercise again, no more nervous system issues, able to hear music again, and to be able to dance and have some comprehension much better than I had. It was really miraculous. Again, now I'm building up my stores of selenium at this point. This is 3 months later because the hazelnuts were not working for me, but I'll do another video on selenium. In the meantime, I would test yourself. Now, if you can't afford both and you can only afford the 5% solution because you're going to use it for maintenance once you get your stores up, I would just use the 5%. But I would put 5 drops on of the 5% to make sure that there's enough to supply my body with what it needs. And yeah, this is the very first step. This was the very first step for me. It was pretty miraculous. And what I did was just continue to use it until it lasted 5 hours on my arm, and visibly. And then, like I said, selenium has to be administered as well, not at the same time of the day, but at a different time of the day. I would put the solution on, the iodine solution, in the morning. I'm finding that is the best for sleep, I hope. But I'm dealing with weaning off of the smallest dose of a pharmaceutical that I was on for a while, and I'll talk about that in another video. So that's messing with my sleep. I'm disgusted with the pharmaceutical industry, to say the least, with the types of drugs and the way they're presenting them, and the way their pharmaceutical reps are presenting them, and just the way the whole operation works is beyond criminal, in my opinion. And thank God it's the kind of world where I can have my opinion. And actually, is it? It doesn't really matter because I still have my opinion and I'm going to tell it. So do the iodine. Yes, if you have hyperthyroidism, if you know for sure from going to the endocrinologist that you have hyperthyroidism, I would get if it were me, I would get a naturopath or an alternative doctor or an endocrinologist that thinks outside of the box. Like, if you have an endocrinologist, make sure they're checking, if you want to get your thyroid checked, that's the problem. It's like, we're not checking the thyroid properly, or we don't have the proper testing, or they're not even ordering the proper testing that is available, like checking T3 free, T4 free, total T3. And I talk about this. Oh yeah, it's a whole menopausal thing too, because they have this whole thing about menopause and how menopause, is a whole hormonal issue and all that stuff. But there are only 10% of your hormones are kept in your ovaries. So like, if you go into menopause and your whole life falls apart and you have hot flashes and all that other stuff, that's histamine intolerance. And that's not right. That's not the way things are supposed to go. Oh yeah, by taking this iodine and balancing my thyroid out and giving my thyroid what it needed, like, everything came back in my life. Like, They had put me originally on HRT, hormone replacement therapy for menopause, and that was like a shit show. All it did was like hurt my stomach, back up my liver. Even the most natural, it was completely unnecessary. I just needed some iodine, and I was like good to go. Felt like, I don't know how to explain it, but I was like a teenager again, physically, mentally, emotionally, just like strong, empowered, sensual. Yeah, there's just so much bullshit out there, and none of it makes sense. And I'm hoping to make sense for you guys. So that is my story. I hope I made that as easy as possible.